Hello everyone, good evening. It's Victor once again. I'd like to welcome you all to another weekend. It's another episode of Ground Zero. I hope we are all um, expanding our horizons. I hope we're all expanding our knowledge. I hope we all had a wonderful week and a productive week of GIS and whatever thing that pushes our self development. Once again, I would like to welcome you all. It's another weekend. So, last week kind of didn't really end well for us. So, I promised that this week will be better and we'll repeat the same thing that we did last week. Last week, where we tried generating contours using QGIS, but somehow the plugin had I didn't understand what issues were wrong with the plugin, but thankfully we were able to sort that out and we found another alternative. So this week it's surely going to be better. So without wasting much time, let's get right into it again. I'm going to start from like scratch, not like from week one, but like from where we started last week. So I'll still repeat the same process. Like I said last week, contours. Generally, contours could be anything, but the main definition is contours. Contours are just imaginary lines that join areas of equal value, in this context. Now, in the context of what we want to work on, we are dealing with contours as relating to elevation. So contours now are going to be imaginary lines that um join points on earth or in an area, or imaginary lines in an area that join points of equal elevation. That's equal um meters above sea level, equal height, however you want to see it. But like that is what contours is. So like if there are points that are maybe 10 meters, there are different points at different locations in a specific area that are like 10 meters. So there's a single line is going to join all those points. Then if there are multiple points that are like say 20 meters, um like the contours is going to like join the points together. So like that's how it goes, and it just joins different points, but similar points of the same elevation are joined as one. So when you add all these lines together, you come up with contour lines. So that's just what we're going to do. So in order to do that, we're going to pick points in our Gidankwano area. That's the area where we've been working on for some weeks now. So we're going to pick different points, multiple points in our Gidankwano area, and we're going to run those points in our QGIS to generate so that the software will find points that are of equal values and join them together. So like as is with the concept of contours. So that's what we're going to do. So in order to do that now, we're going to make use of multiple tools. We're going to make use of our Google Earth. We're going to make use of I'm going to use a web tool called GPS Visualizer. I'm going to make use of our Google Sheets. Some of us who can use Microsoft Excel can also use Microsoft Excel. Then we're going to use our QGIS. So Without wasting much time, let's get right into it. So we're going to work on our Gidankwano area. So let's get straight to Google Earth. So this is our Google Earth. I'm going to find our Gidankwano area. If you don't know the area, or you are having issues finding the area, you can simply just type the area like Gidankwano, something like this. So it's loading up. So we're going to this is Federal University of Technology, Mina. So you select it and it's going to zoom in to that location. This is provided that you don't know the area, but if you know the area, you can simply just zoom in manually. But for the purpose of this class, we are um, searching using the search engine. So this is our area. This is what we did last week, but I'm going to repeat the same process for those of us that were not with us last week. So so let's zoom right in. Let's try and make it as flat as possible. So this is our area. I want to generate contours from on from these areas. So what we're going to do now is we're going to pick multiple points across this area and extract their coordinates and their elevations, because these are the three data that we're going to need for, or they are the three variables rather that we're going to need for our exercise for today. You need the longitude, you need the latitude, and you need the elevation or altitude. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to pick a point and we'll record the longitude and the latitude and the elevation. If you can see the lower right corner of our screen here, you will see that there is some form of information here. We have the longitude and the latitude, the longitude, and the elevation. I don't really like our elevations units being in feet, so I will try to switch it to meters. I hope, yeah, the unit of measurement should be in meters and kilometers. That's what I want. So yeah, this is what I want. So we're going to get different points and get their coordinates and their elevation, because those are what we need. So we can do this manually by just picking these points one by one and recording it on a spreadsheet. But that's going to be tedious and mentally it's kind of draining. So we're going to um, do it by like getting shape files or just running lines around it and picking points. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to do this by there's this icon that's called add paths in our Google Earth Pro software. You just click on it and this screen, this pop-up screen will show up. So usually what it does, it's like a combination of lines and points. So you draw lines and each line you can get points too as you draw lines like this, something like this. When you left click, you get lines and you get points. So that's what we are doing. And so as we are getting these lines and points, we are getting the coordinates and we're also getting the elevation. So each of these points the have unique data that is unique to them, but they are of the same variable, which is the longitude, latitude, and the elevation. So each of these points have that. So as we are drawing these points like this, each of these have this piece of data. So without wasting much time, we just left click. You hold left click and hold, and you just draw these lines. You run this path along the area of interest. So as we are doing this now, we are getting the data we need. So you can do it. There's no manual on how to do it. You can draw the lines anyhow you want. You can draw it randomly. You can um, get a pattern. You can set a specific pattern on how you want to do it. It's fine, but the main aim is to get as much points as possible. So in like our free time, we can choose to do it as carefully as possible. But for the purpose of this class, I'm just going to do it this way so that you can get the concepts of what we're doing, just get the basic idea. So that's just what we're doing. So you can get as much point as possible because that's the aim. So you can choose to do it anyhow you want to do it. You can, but just make sure it's within that area. So after doing this, you rename it. Let's just call it contours 2. Contours 2 contour path. Yeah. So just click on OK, and it's going to be added to this places panel. But that's not where we want it. We will need to save it in a specific file format that we can use to extract it using our web tool. So I'm going to right click on this path that we just created, and I'm going to save the place as something. So I'm saving it as KML file, and we're saving it on our folder as contour paths. So the path in which you save it in may vary depending on the device that you are using. But for my own device, this is where I'm going to save it. Created a specific folder for saving things like this, so you can choose to do the same. So you just save it. When after saving it, you are done for now with Google Earth. Then we'll go to our next tool, which is um, the GPS visualizer. So you go on, open a tab and just type GPS visualizer on the search bar, and I'm supposed to answer or prove that I'm not a robot. So let's just stay patient while I tell Google that I am not a robot. So let us quickly do this. Yeah. So Google doesn't believe me, so I have to prove more. Okay. Yeah. So we are in. So we'll just wait for it for a couple of minutes or for a moment. Yeah, it's fast today. So this is the first link you click on, GPS visualizer. If you don't want to use the search bar, you can just go to the website directly by just typing gpsvisualizer.com. So a page like this is going to show up, and there are different things that you can do on this website. But for today, what we want to do is just extract elevations and the coordinates from our KML file. So I'm going to click on look up elevations, and that's what we're clicking on. So we'll wait for a few moments for the next page to show up, and this page is going to show up like this. So it gives you the opportunity to either type in the URL or the web link for where you have this file, or you can choose to upload the file directly, and which is the option we are going to go for this time because we actually saved it um, on our device. So you choose the file and it takes you to the folder, and this is the file we just saved. So I click on it and upload it. This is uploaded, and on this side of the screen you can choose the output in which you want to extract, or you save um, the resulting file. So I want it to be saved to Google Sheets or Excel so that I can get it in a spreadsheet format. So you click add elevation, convert and add elevation, and the next page is going to show up where it's going to give you the chance to save your file. Okay, so you can choose to save this by right clicking on the following link and saving the link as, or you can simply download it directly by clicking on this link. But I want to save it to a specific folder, so I'm going to right click and save the link as, and the pop-up page is supposed to show up here. So this is the folder I want to save it as. So I'll save it as contour data. So it's going to be saved as a text file. So we are saving it as a text file and it has just been downloaded. So after that, we are done with our GPS visualizer. So we switch to our Google Sheets and we upload the text file. So you click on import. So you go to the upload tab and you upload the file. And where is our file? This is our contour data. So you click on that and it's uploading. So it now gives you the option to, yeah, so you can now import it. Well, I'm going to the I noticed that what is used to separate the columns are tabs. I used to think they were comma delimited, so but we found out that it was tabs that was used to separate the columns. So that's the data generally. So we are going to select our separator tabs and types as tabs, and we convert and import data. You just import the data and you get it in the spreadsheet format. Yeah, so we are good to go. So we don't need it here. We need it as a file. So we are going to download it as a CSV file. So you download it as a CSV file and you also select the folder that you want to save it. Okay, so I guess it's has finished loading the page. So we select the folder we want to save it to. I wonder what's happening this time. I okay. Oh, I was expecting it to show me the page, but I think it just downloaded on its own. So I'm going to just go to the download page and save it as the contour. data. Let's move it to the folder that we want. So we're done with the first three tools that we're using, which is the Google Earth, the GPS visualizer, and the Google Sheets. Now we're going to come to the main software we're using, which is QGIS, and we're going to import this data as points. So in order to do that, now you go to the layer toolbar and you click on data source manager. Or, then you click on add vector layer. But that's not what we want to do. You can choose anyone, but what I want to do is click on this delimited text layer because that's what we want to extract. So we choose the file by clicking on this link, and this is our file. Then you click on it, and the delimiter is comma. So that's what we have. We're going to click. This is our delimiter. The Yeah, so this is what we need. So this is what the data that we need. Like I told you, we need three sets of data: the longitude, uh, three sets of variable rather, longitude, latitude, and the elevation. So we are selecting the specific um, folder columns that's the headers, column headers that reflects or that corresponds to what we need. So for our X data, we choose the longitude. For our Y data, we choose the latitude. The Z data is altitude, and we are all good to go. Then the coordinate reference system, as always, and in this case is WGS 1984. And after doing that, you click on add, and we're done. So we have this. If you can notice, they are looking the same, just like our Google Earth, but the only difference is there are no lines, they are just points, which is the point of, no pun intended, but that's what we want. So we are going to use this points data now to generate our contours. In order to do that, now we're going to use a plugin, which is the contour plugin, which has already been. I didn't know this. I was downloading a plugin, a contour plugin, but it has already been incorporated and integrated into the QGIS and software by default. So in order to use that, we click on this vector toolbar and you click on contour. It's already there. You just click on it, and this dialog page will show up, and the point layer that we want to use is the contour data that we just imported, and the data value that we want to use is the altitude that we added. So that's what we need. Um, for now, we're just going to ignore all these other details, and yeah. So for now, let's just ignore the details, the other details. You can explore all these other ones. It's beyond the scope of today, but you can explore it and just try out different methods. We can contour by using contour lines. We can also add fill colors and all that, but we're not going to do that. We'll just choose the default way and let's just go with it. So after looking at everything, and if it's all right, you just click on add and you close because it has already been added. But we no longer need this point, so um, we uncheck it and we have our contour data with us. So we are good to go now. We have our contours. For the first time, let me introduce you to contours. I was only describing what contours were initially, but I didn't really show us what they were. But these are contours. Like I told you, contours are lines that imaginary lines that shows, but for the on the software you can actually see the lines, but like physically you can't see them, but like they are lines that join points of equal values. And in this context of our work, it's joining lines or it's joining points of equal elevation. So all these lines now that you are seeing, this particular line, this is a single line and it is joining points that have the same value. So all these lines are the same value. And that's just it. You can read up on what contours are, but there are different principles guiding the laws of contours. If you can notice, the lines are not they are not intersecting each other. The reason why they are not intersecting each other because that's the main. It goes against the main concepts, which is they are lines that join points of equal elevation. And 2 points or the same point can have different elevations, which is what intersection implies. So that's why the lines are not intersecting, because they have they are not of the same elevation. So they are only joining points of different the same elevation. So that is how it is. Some for cartographic purposes, you can choose to show the labels, or that's the actual values of these lines, or you can also choose not to. But let me just show you how to show these labels. You can show these labels by right clicking on the layer and showing the labels. By showing the labels, now you can see the labels, the values for these lines. So you can see the values. Another principle of contours is they have equal interval. If you calculate the intervals between the first line and the second line, and the value you get, if you keep adding them for each line, you'll see that they correspond to the next value, and the next value that you see. But currently I don't like the way it is looking. I don't like the way the labels are looking, so I'm going to switch the labels off for now, and that's fine. So this is our contour, and if you can notice this, um if you can notice our map now, you can see that the contour line is on a it's like it's intersecting the polygon that we just drew. It is because like everything we do on our maps are in layers. So the contour layer is like on top, which is why everything is like it seems to be like it's on top of every other thing that was existing before. But we can choose to like bring that layer lower so that they cannot it won't be on top of the other layers. So we're going to bring down this contour layer, and we brought it down, bringing it down by like dragging it down. But you can see now that the layers this contour layer is below the polygons. They are no longer on top. You can't see the line that is overlapping the polygons. So that's just it. So well, but for the purpose of um map making, I would want to show the labels, because Um, like I said, topographic maps are mainly used for like navigation purposes. So these labels are kind of important, but like they are not like needed like all through. A single or a single label or two is enough. And we don't want our map to look like too crowded with figures. But we don't want to waste much time, so I don't want to like go really deep into how to edit some of these labels and remove some of them and all that. So we're just going to leave it like this. So this is at this point we're all good to go. You can add other things to your map, but I think we'll just stop here. The some of the line, this line is representing the road. We all did, and each of the layers that we did is representing something. So that is, I think we are all good now. So we are going to go to the next stage, which is layouts, which is like the next stage in which you prepare your map for how it's going to look like on paper or in a PDF format. Like this, the end result. Yeah, that's what like how it's going to look like when printed. So we're going to that's going to be the next stage. And in order to do that now, we go to our uh, menu uh, and our project toolbar, and you click on new printout print layout rather, and you just create a new print layout and give it a title. So I'm going to give this a title by calling it Gidan Kwan. So we just click on Gidan Kwan one. It takes us to this page. We'll zoom in. You can zoom in by clicking or using your two fingers to run through the or like open up the page, like the making opening gestures using your two fingers. You zoom in by doing that, just the same way you do on your phone, or you can choose to use this one to zoom in like that, but that's not what we want. So we just zoom out. This uh, level is all right. So as you can see, this is a blank page. We have nothing here. So this is what we do. This is our canvas. We are going to, this is where you can add the different elements of a map. Initially, in our first week, I taught us about the different elements of maps. So this is the point where you can add all these things. This is where you add your legend, your map, the main map itself, the title, your scale, your north arrow, and all that. So first of all, we're going to add our map itself by going to this part of our screen and adding the map. When you go to this part, you will notice that your cursor is going to change like this, and you left click and hold, and you drag like this, and you get something like this. So you've seen that we've added our map. So we just we try to let's try and crop it a little bit because we don't need that much space. Or if you can notice the um, so this is just where you just shape your work the way you want it to be. So I'm trying to crop map to be um the size that is perfect for me. But you can still notice that, let me zoom in a bit. You can notice that our map is still looking kind of small. Why? Is because the scale um is a small scale. So how do we enlarge our map? By increasing the scale. So how do we increase it? If the thing with scale is the larger the number, or the larger the larger the ratio or something like that. Like the number, um, by default, when you just look at numbers, you think like the bigger the number means something is bigger. But in the case of scales, the bigger the number means the map is going to be small. So the smaller the number means the map is going to be larger. So in this case, this is our scale, 10,860. So I'm going to reduce it to say 8,000, and let's see how the size is going to be. So you can see that our size has increased to a certain extent. So sorry, let me try to like explain the page, or this page that you are on now. So the on this part of our screen, this is our toolbox. You can explore you can explore after this class, you can explore this toolbox, because these are the different tools that you need for your in our layout view. So the first one now is the pan tool. You can use it to shift your map, just the same way you can do it physically by using your hand to carry your paper and moving it around. So that's what we use this pan tool to do. So you can use it to move the map around. I, the map is supposed to, yeah. So you move the map around. So, and this is what I thought was supposed to be the pan tool. So like to move this map around now, you have to use this other tool called the move item contents. Yeah, so yeah, we have tried to move it. So we're going to, so so we just move this around like that, the same way we want, the way we want it. So there's no manual to how to do the in picking your skill. You just, it's basically trial and error depending on the size of the area. So we're going to like continue trying different skills until we see the one that fits our the size of our map. So let's just leave it at this. So we've added our map. So the next thing now, let's try adding, this is the tool. So this is the toolbox part of the layouts view. So let's add our north arrow. So you click on this and you add your north arrow, and you repeat the same thing the same way you added the map. You left click and you drag, and you have your north arrow. So this is your north arrow. This is the parts. This pane, this panel on the layout view is where you can edit the properties of the different items, the same depending on what you select. If you select this map now, this is the this is where you can edit the properties. This is where you can edit the size, the scale, um, the dimensions, the extent of how you want your map to be like. This is where you can do all these things. You are free to explore all this after the class. So this is the parts of the layout view that's that is responsible for all that. Then this part is where you can use to add the different elements of your map. This is the part where you can zoom in and zoom out. Like this is the view toolbar, and this is where you can use to save. This is the save the file toolbar. This is where you can add a different layout. This is where you can choose your print layouts, how you want it to look like on paper, the files and the page size, if it's whether it's A4, A3, A0, things like that. This is where you can choose the file format. So you can choose to export it as a PDF, and you can choose to print it. So going back to the map itself, we've added our north arrow, we've added our map. So I want to add the legend. You can see them. When you just hover around it, you the title of what the icon is going to show up. So if you want to add your legend now, you let click and you repeat the same process. You let click and you drag it like this, and you get um, these are the elements of, or these are the items that we used in making our map. As you can see, they are all showing. The contour data, I didn't name it as contours because, but you can choose to do all these things. But I'm just doing all this for the purpose of this class. So you can choose to go back to rename our map items to fit in, like to make it more detailed and descriptive. So you can choose to name it. So I want to name these are contour data. So let me name these are contour data as contours. So if you rename it and you go back to your layout, you see that it has changed. But the thing is, we don't need all the information that is showing on this our legend. So like I said, this is the part where you can choose to edit all these things. You can choose what you want on your legend and what you don't want. You can choose the name of the legend. You can choose to give it a title. You can choose whatever you want. You can choose the dimensions. You can choose whatever. So for now, I don't want some of these items on our legend. So what am I going to do? I'm going to choose either this or this. So choosing this now will show only items that are checked on the legend, on the map. So that's the items that are only on the map. The items that are visible on the map is what is going to show on the legend. So that's what I just do. So checking this box will bring this all out like this, and that's why you have your legend and your items showing like this, because all these items now are what is on this map. And what is a legend? A legend is like a description for what every element on your map represents. So that's just it. So we can choose to add our what we're going to add next is our scale bar. So we select this tool and add your scale bar, and this is your scale bar. Like I said again, this is where you can choose to edit how you want your scale bar to look like and however you want it. So that's just how we do it. And the next thing to do now is to add our title. So I want to add a map title to our. So how do I do this? Now we can choose to use this side of to add this thing. So basically this same thing, this side, what's on this side of the screen is the same thing that is here. So you can add label by clicking on add label and you repeat the same thing. You just drag it and you have this. So you come here because this is where you edit how you want things to look like on your map. So you come here now and you type the title that you want to type. So I'll call this the one, one, um yeah, it's a bit long, but you know, so you just type it like that. So you can choose how you want it to appear. You can choose the font size. You can choose the, so let's choose another a bigger font size. Let's say 15. So you type it like that. You can choose the font color wherever you want, but we're not really going to go deep into that. Well, you get the drill. This is where you can edit. This is where you can edit how you want things to look like on your map. So I'm also going to add a neat line. I want to add a neat line. So how do I do that? You can choose to do that by adding this. You can choose to add a polygon or a line. So that's just how you can do that. Then after when you are done now, you can to export it. In order to export it now, you can print it if you have a printer, or if you don't have a printer, you can choose to just export it as an SVG or a SVG file rather, or a PDF. So I want to export it as a PDF, so I'm going to select a PDF. And doing this now, you type the title, you choose the file folder that you want to save it in, and you just save it. When you save it, you just check what you want to check and you save. So it is already saved. You can choose to open it. But when you open it now, it's this the same the way it looks on this paper is how it's going to look like on the file. So let's find it and open it. So this is our map. So that is it. So this is how our map looks like. It's looking a bit rough, but the purpose of this is not to actually design a map, is to just teach the basics and show the concepts and the basic step-by-step process of making these maps. So, but with time, you can choose to find better ways to do all this. So, we're going to stop for today, and next week we'll find another case study because, like, this is just one part of GIS, which is cartography, or like this is the basic part of the GIS, which is cartography, which is making maps. But there are other use cases for GIS. There are other use cases for GIS, which is like data analysis and others. So we are going to look for a data next week and work on our data next week. So thank you once again and see you next week.